I just witnessed something that I never thought I would witness in all my times of watching the NBA. That Bam Adebayo of the Miami Heat, of all people, broke Kobe Bryant's record of the second most points scored in an NBA game in NBA history, in which he scored 83 points. That's right, Bam Adebayo scored 83 points, and we're going to get into it. But before I get started on that, I want to tell you guys to hit that subscribe button. Like, comment, share, tell a friend, tell a family member, tell whoever to support my channel. Bam Adebayo actually pulled it off. He scored 83 points against the Washington Wizards. And yes, it's the Washington Wizards. I know people are going to poo-poo them, and I understand why. I get it. But you got to get a man his due, man. The guy scored 83 points. And look, man, out of all my years of watching NBA basketball, and I've watched NBA basketball for over 25 years, and I got to tell y'all, this might have been the most unexpected night in my entire years of watching the NBA. Like, Bam Adebayo scored 83 points. Bam Adebayo, out of all, look, man, Kobe Bryant scored 81 points 20 years ago, right, against the Toronto Raptors. 28 for 46 shooting. He scored 81 points. And, look, man, I'll be honest. There was going to come a time, especially with how the NBA's been playing today with the defense, with the defensive rules, and the lack of hand checking and the fast pace of play in the NBA. Like, I felt like there was going to come a moment where we were going to see a player break Kobe Bryant's record, right? And look, Luka Doncic, a couple of years ago, he scored 73 points, unfortunately, against my Atlanta Hawks. And, he came somewhat close. And so, like, I felt like there was gonna come a time where someone was gonna break Kobe Bryant's record. And I honestly think there's gonna come a time where someone's gonna break Wilt Chamberlain's record. I believe at some point over the next decade, over the next 10 years, we're going to see somebody in the NBA score over 100 points. I truly, wholeheartedly believe that's going to happen. Somebody is going to score over 100. But back to the story, but back to the point at hand. Like, we all thought that, I felt like someone was going to break Kobe Bryant's, record for second most points scored in the game. And someone's going to score over 81. But out of all the players in the world that I would have thought of that could break Kobe Bryant's record, I would never in my wildest dreams picture Bam Adebayo scoring 83 points, breaking Kobe Bryant's record, being up there with Wilt Chamberlain and Kobe Bryant as for the players who scored the most points in the game in NBA history. Like, I never would have thought Bam Adebayo of the Miami Heat would have been those players, because the truth is with Bam is he's not really that much of a scorer. Like he can score the basketball. Like, look, he's like before the game, he was averaging, a little over 18 points a game. I think he was averaging like 18.9. And so, 19 points a game on average. And, scoring, even though Bam can score a little bit, he's not like a true number one or number two option. Heck, he doesn't even lead the Miami Heat in scoring over the season. It's Norman Powell, and Tyler Hero. Those are the guys that have been like Miami's key scorers, for this season. And obviously, Bam Adebayo ended up pulling it off. And it's crazy because look, I'll be lying if I told y'all that I watched this entire Wizards Heat game, because I didn't. I'm just looking at. I saw the fourth quarter of the game when the game was kind of out of reach. So I didn't like see this entire game. I'm just looking at highlights, and I kind of saw how it all played out and all. But like I'm looking at the box score of the game, like early in the game, like it was brought to my attention because I'm watching other NBA games, and like in the first quarter he had 30 points, and I'm like, huh? What? Hold on, no way. Bam had 30 points. Like at the start of the first quarter, Bam Adebayo had 30 points in the first quarter, and then I'm looking, and then later in the game, later during a moment, it was also brought to my attention that at halftime, Bam had 43 points, and he was 13 for 24 shooting, and I'm like, hold on, no, wait, 43 points on 13 to 24 shooting in the first half? Like, no, that's got to be a typo. And then I'm looking at the box score at halftime, and I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? And like players get 43 points on 13 to 24 shooting in a game. Bam Adebayo got that in a half, a 1/2 of basketball. And I'm like, oh man, this dude is on one. And then, the third quarter happened, and all of a sudden, I'm looking at the box score, and it's like, oh, he has 60 points. And I'm like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden, he has 70 points. And I'm like, whoa. And then I turn to that game in the fourth quarter. And what I see is the Wizards triple teaming him, preventing him from getting the ball. And then I'm seeing the Miami Heat just intentionally fouling the Wizards so the Heat can get the ball back and force the ball to Bam. And obviously, like, there were some failed, attempts and some forced shots from Bam that ended up hurting his field goal percentage a little bit because he finished the game shooting 20 for 43. And so he didn't shoot over 50% from the field when he had 80, considering he had 83 points. I don't want to nitpick and all, but it's kind of what it is. And so he didn't so you can kind of see Miami kind of force feeding the hand, and then eventually he ended up getting his 83 points, man. And he ended up getting to the free throw line, and he knocked the shots down, he got his free throws, and knocked it down, and he ended up with 83 points. And so, look, man, the first 3 quarters of that game was pretty incredible. Like, you can just tell that Bam was feeling it. The Alex Sarr, God bless him. Bam Adebayo was just giving that dude work, some work. He could not guard him at all. And also with Bam, like, the one thing that was impressive to me about how we were scoring is he had 43 free throw attempts. He was 36 for 43 from the free throw line. I mean, that's absurd. Getting to the free throw line 43 times and knocking down 36 of your 43 free throws is incredible. To me, I feel like that was the most impressive thing about his performance, was how he was able to get to the free throw line, be aggressive, and knock shots down. He was playing hard. He was getting rebounds, offensive rebounds, and he was just going at the Wizards defenders, taking them off the dribble. And he was knocking down threes. He was, 7 for 18 from 3? Attempt 18 threes and knocked down 7 of them. And, like, you can just see that the Wizards just could not guard this dude. But, like I said, Alex Sarr, God bless him, he was getting abused by Bam. Like, he could not, Bam was just going at him. He was knocking down threes off the dribble. He was closing out late. And, like, Bam was just feeling it. And I think in this day and age in the NBA, man, when a scorer has it cooking early, it's hard to disrupt their rhythm. And for the Wizards, specifically Alex Sarr, and a couple of other guys on their team. I think Gill, their backup center, and I forgot the other guy, his name. It was like 3 guys that was trying to guard Bam, and Bam was just cooking all of them. And look, man, when a guy's in rhythm like that, it's hard to cut the water off. When a guy's feeling it early, you're at risk. And you kind of saw with the Wizards, like, when Bam was getting a couple of layups at the rim, bully balling his way to the rim, and then he was hitting a couple of catch and shoot threes, a couple of turnaround middies, and like when you're cooking early, it's hard to stop. And Bam was cooking early; he had it going, And the Wizards defenders were kind of at their mercy the entire game. And obviously the Heat. Look, man, I don't want what happened towards the end of that game was kind of hard for my eyes. Seeing how the Heat was trying to force feed Bam the ball and trying to foul the Wizards, the Wizards players to get the ball back on offense, and they were trying to force feed Bam, and Bam was missing shots late in the game, and then eventually he kind of got his 83 points, but that wasn't basketball towards the end of the fourth quarter. Like I didn't really enjoy that, but even despite all that, man, like you got to give Bam his credit. To me, this was his moment. This was his time to shine. And he delivered, man. 83 points is 83 points at the end of the day. No one's gonna, when we look back on history, when we look back how these dudes performed, no one's gonna remember the fourth quarter shenanigans. No one's gonna remember all of that. They're just gonna remember that 83 points that Bam scored. And for Bam, like, kudos to him, man. It was a great moment for him. He's kind of exemplified Miami Heat culture, or they call it Heat culture, so and so. And he's a guy that just comes to work. He works hard. He's one of the best defensive players in the league. And offensively, look, his offense has been up and down lately over the last couple of years, but he's kind of found his niche, over the last couple of months with his offense, and it kind of came together for him in this moment against the Wizards the other night. And so shout out to Bam for doing this thing. And look, man, you look at the Miami Heat in the standings. They've won what, 6 in a row, 7 in a row. They're red hot. The Miami Heat right now are 37-29. They're playing some high level basketball. They're trying to fight their way to get out the play-in and get into the playoffs. And so the Miami Heat are rolling. They're playing a red hot basketball. Eric Spoelstra has this team playing at a high level, man. And so that can't be lost on Bam's performances. How well this Heat team is playing. They're playing well. They're playing at a high level. Like I said, they've won 7 in a row, 8 in a row. I think it's 8 in a row. I can't remember. I think it's 6 in a row. Yeah, 6 in a row. And so you got to give the Heat credit, man. They're playing at a high level right now. And Bam Adebayo, just what a performance. What a performance. And, at the end of the game, it was really cool to see his teammates kind of talk about the performance. And you saw Norman Powell ask Bam, like, how does it feel to be up there with Kobe Bryant and Wilt Chamberlain and Bam as far as the 3 best performances in NBA history? And Bam was like, hell yeah. that was a dope moment, man. And so it was good, man. It was good. It was a great moment for the NBA. It was fun. And Bam Adebayo actually broke Kobe Bryant's record, for second most points scored in an NBA game in NBA history. This is unreal. It's unreal. Unreal performance. Unbelievable showing from Bam. And good for him, man. Good for Bam Adebayo, man. I think for someone like him, it was a great moment for him. And you saw all the NBA, you saw all the coaches. I think you saw Ime Udoka. You saw Kevin Durant, J.J. Redick, the head coach of the Lakers, all commenting on how Bam played. Ime Udoka, talked about how the 43 free throw attempts. And he also mentioned how the Wizards, and that's the thing for the Wizards, man. I mean, poor Washington Wizards fans. You're watching that and you're just like, Lord have mercy. We're gonna be in the news for the wrong reasons. Now look, man, I think the Wizards, I still think they have better days ahead of them moving forward. We'll see how, look, we obviously know they're tanking right now. Like, they're trying to rebuild. They're trying to lose games. Trae Young, my guy, didn't even play. So he didn't play. Anthony Davis didn't play. I think Keyshawn George, who's one of their key players, he didn't play. And so, look, man, we all know what the Wizards are trying to do. for the rest of the season. They're trying to tank and lose games. And look, you look at their situation moving forward, like, Anthony Davis, Trae Young, Kayshawn George, Trey Johnson. Obviously you got Alex Sarr, and they're likely gonna have a top 5 or 6 pick. And so hopefully if you're a Wizards fan, like, next season can you get to this draft and see where your pick lands, and on paper you should have a better team heading into next season. And you just gotta hope for the best if you're the Wizards. Hope that these embarrassing moments can be a thing of the past when you have a better team next season. But look, man, it's rough right now if you're the Wizards right now. I mean, because that was ugly. That was ugly on their part. Allowing Bam Adebayo to score 83 points on your head and just not doing anything about it until the fourth quarter is pretty rough. But hey, man, shout out to Bam Adebayo. He did his thing. He delivered in his moment, and he scored 83 points, broke Kobe's record, and the Miami Heat are rolling. They're one of the hottest teams in the league right now, and so shout out to Bam Adebayo. Great moment, great performance, and hey, man, I'm not here to hate, man. Bam Adebayo, you did your thing. 83 points is 83 points, and I think basketball fans should respect that and appreciate that. And hey, man, salute to you, Bam Adebayo. You got 83 points. That's big time, man. It's big time.